It is Wednesday evening once again, and that means it's time for another Auburn Family Night. This is the live stream here at E2C Network, where it's all about you, your topics, your questions, your calls, anything and everything related to the orange and blue and Auburn is what we'll discuss here. So let's get into it right now. War Eagle Auburn family and a special and War Eagle and welcome to you, our E2C Network family, the best little family within the Auburn family. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us, spending some time, just talking about anything orange and blue related. This is my favorite time of the week where I get to sit back with you all and just go with the flow and talk about what you want to discuss. This is a live stream call-in show where you can take advantage of the opportunity to have your voice heard, at the very least, if not your face seen, if you have been wanting to have something addressed, especially in long form, something that you really wanted to press me on, all the hot takes out there and things like that. This is your opportunity to do that tonight. So with that being said, let me tell you how this works tonight. We will take comments and questions throughout the live chat all night. If you're on the replay, we won't be able to respond to a lot of your comments, but please do drop them in as you see fit. If you're wanting to take advantage of the call-in link, which is brought to you by our friends at allthingsauburn.net, you want to make sure you do that by accessing the YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, on X, if you got it some other way, fortunately, you won't be able to access that without going to the YouTube. It is now pinned to the top up there. All you got to do is hit the link, and you can call in and be a part of the show. So that's how this works. That's how we're going to do this. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. So let's talk about all things Auburn right now. And this kind of fits because the call link is by our friends at All Things Auburn. You see how this kind of like coincides together? While you guys get geared up, make sure you smash the like button as you're coming in. Go ahead and also let us know you're here by saying War Eagle, where you're watching from, city, state, international, all that good stuff. I will use my favorite phrase as I do for most of my live streams. Let me set the table. What is probably the most prominent thing on everybody's minds right now? SEC tournament, baby. It is going on right now. I actually haven't even checked into the current games, but I know that there's not as much attention that will be thrust upon it tonight as will be the coming nights, especially on Friday for us here as the Auburn family. That is definitely something we can discuss in great detail. Spring practice continues. They're back from spring break. Obviously been some recruiting news as of late. Apparel discussions have transpired. There are winter sports all across the Auburn scope wrapping up. Man, you just take your pick, and really we can talk about it all. Anything and everything is fair game on this stream tonight. So would love to know what's on your mind, what you want to discuss, and what you're thinking about most prominently. I want to say hello to Angela, checking in first on X, but then over here on YouTube. Good to see you popping over here. Angela wants us to talk about baseball first. And obviously I didn't mention them in my intro part, but baseball is getting rolling right now. How do you think Auburn baseball fares this weekend? Well, first of all, let me just point this out. This is an incredible weekend for Auburn people in the Nashville area. It is now starting to be known as Auburn North by a lot of people, and for good reason, but also the fact that somehow, some way, they managed to get all of this packed into one weekend. SEC tournament, Auburn's going to be there and prominently in the forefront of the discussion there. Gymnastics is having a quad meet in Nashville, and as Angela wanted to discuss, Auburn versus Vanderbilt. I have no clue, Angela. I am very prone to get on hype trains and be excited about what I think I'm seeing. But as we have known throughout the majority of college sports, you don't know a lot about what your foundation is, your height level is until you get into SEC play. It's pretty much just the overused statement. It just means more, but it does mean more here. The SEC is pretty dominant in most sports, and baseball is one of them. So this weekend will tell us how Auburn will fare not only in the rest of the season, but what they might actually look like. I get the feeling that we are highly capable of taking one. I've seen some promise for us. I think the starting pitching has not been, as coaches even said, as consistent as it could be, but it's not been bad or anything like that. I think they were maybe expecting a little bit more out of that. I never heard if we were going to get Joseph back or not this weekend. But what I am encouraged about is our bats, our relief pitching, which you're familiar with, and yeah, that's some good things to look forward to. So I hope we can get one out of the weekend. I'm okay with taking 2 in your first SEC game on the SEC series on the road. I answered that a little bit. Have you heard if Gonzo is back? I haven't. I feel like you would know that before I would. I don't know. I really hope so. I think I'd like to have him back in the lineup when he's ready. The good thing is he was pulled from the starting rotation, not because of injury, but because of a mechanical issue. One of the great things about having that lab is the pitching lab is they can go back there and analyze things better than they could have back in the day and catch things before they become a problem. Mechanics wise, maybe even if they're leading themselves into a potential injury situation. So whatever is going on with Joseph, I think if you saw in his first 2 starts, he wasn't the Joseph that we saw. It wasn't even, it's just 2 games, right, that he played in. So it's like, how do you take that much away? I think it was the trend of things. He had actually the first 3 games, he had a terrible last outing where he couldn't even make it out of the first inning. So to me, I want them to take their time with him, not rush him back. He's still trying to come back from all those injuries that plagued him and kept him out for a year. So take your time, get him back when he's ready. I haven't heard anything though. And, that always makes us a little bit nervous. Thomas checking in. Good to see you. Thanks for being here, my friend, and hanging out with us tonight. One of our Booster Club members here supporting on YouTube as a Conquer Club member that way, but also the Conquer Club through Patreon. So thank you so much for doing that. Angela, you had surgery today? I had surgery today, so I'm trying to catch up. Well, I hope everything went well. I got a lot of people like having major and minor surgeries in my life lately. It's I don't know what's going on. It's like some kind of bug or something. Hopefully everything's okay there. And yes, when it's funny, you talk about being checked out for a day. A lot of the times what I do on Wednesdays is I check out for the last 2 or 3 hours leading up to the show, and I always pay for it. Well, I tend to pay for it. Something big happens and I come into the show not prepared to talk about something. So I hope you're able to catch up. My goodness, folks, everybody prepare yourselves right now. We have royalty literally entering the chat at this moment. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss D Ford is here. Not the footballer, but the lady from across the seas, our fair lady, has entered the chat. D Ford, it is so good to see you. I see you every day on social media, but like in that way. But to see you in our chat is a treat in and of itself. May I do a quick plug, not just for her, but for the Auburn Roots series, which is going to come back. I promise. She was the inaugural episode of the Auburn Roots podcast, where we let people tell their Auburn stories. And of course, you don't want to miss hers. You will hear me being not so great in the first ever episode of it, just trying to get my bearings on doing that. But it is a story you don't want to miss if you're not familiar with it. So go check that out. I'm determined to crack this understanding baseball, so keep throwing out the content. D, I hope that you're finding it valuable. I don't know if you're watching our post midweek streams after the midweek game. Again, I'm try not to act like I'm an expert on all these things, but I want to give you the need to know information. Here's what you need to know about the team this year. And Angela, with her son being on the team, can also back this up too. This is a team that's got very big bats, meaning they can swing the ball swing the bat very well, make contact with it, home runs, extra base hits. They can get on base and bring them in. Our relief pitching, especially the top ones in that group, seem to be very strong, in my opinion. Starting pitching, the starting rotation seems to be a little bit not as consistent as at this moment. When you talk about it as a collective, individually maybe different, but collective, it's different. But this is where we find out how good this team can be when we start this weekend. Let's see here. WT in the house. Good to see you. Thanks for hanging out with us. As you guys are coming in, make sure you smash the like button, especially some of you regulars. Devin's here. Good evening, E2C family. It looks like you were right about Vanderbilt, Kyle. Are they winning right now? Are they winning? Let me just take a little quick peek. I guess you guys keep me up to date in the chat. This is one of the benefits of doing a live stream. You guys can keep me up to date on things and watch me react to things live. So I won't look at it. You tell me what's going on right now. So if you're saying I was right, and I think I picked them, that, hey, here's the thing about Vanderbilt. They have, it's 48-33. Vanderbilt, that's who's winning by that much? Are we in the second half, or is this the first half score? Vanderbilt's got a good coach, I think, in Jerry Stackhouse. They also have a great history. And at some point, you got to think those will marry up a little bit. The Vanderbilt team that I'm seeing now makes me feel like the Bruce Pearl teams when he first got here. Well, maybe like year 2, where they don't have it together yet, but there's talent there. And if it comes together, you're going to be in trouble. I don't know. Maybe that's just what's going on. Yes, Vandy is killing them, and it's in the second half. Here's the other side of that equation, folks. What happened to Arkansas? Can anybody explain to me how Arkansas falls off the literal face of the map? You know, I've been watching, not just, I watch our content, obviously, just for editing purposes and stuff like that. But, I check in at other content creators, and I'm noticing that the numbers for everybody are down this year a little bit in basketball. And I got to think that is because of the Arkansas fans. They were one of the most toxic YouTube audiences out there. You can't find them unless they got something to brag about, but when they think or to gripe about, they will just come out of the woodwork, and they have been quiet this year. And they're getting run in by Vanderbilt right now. So there's that as well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't try to toot my own horn, Devin, but I've been watching some basketball for a while. I played it. I think I know a little bit about it every once in a while. So I'll take the wins where I can get them. Arkansas fell off a cliff. I wonder if that locker room rumored drama. Yeah, I think we need to be careful and say it's rumored, had anything to do with it. Here's what I will say. When things aren't going well, you find out the makeup of your locker room, your program, and lack thereof sometimes. And whether a rumor is true or not, it doesn't really matter. Obviously, things are not going well. Arkansas is not well right now. WT says, I would love for Missouri to catch a win. I don't think they will, but it would be cool. It would be very cool to have it happen to Georgia, one of our most hated rivals. I don't think it's going to happen. What I see out of Missouri is, again, a team with some talent. But as I talked about today on our TikTok live stream, a lot of talent, but does not coalesce together as a team. Very disappointing cohesion, utilization amongst each other of that talent. A lot of individuals, not a team. That's what when I look at Missouri, I understand why they are as bad as they are. It makes sense to me. Arkansas caught up in a hurry. There you go. So we got a little score update. Here's the thing about Arkansas. What I just said about Missouri, that's my explanation for what happened with them this season. So much talent that it doesn't make sense that they would fall off this way. That's kind of what I was getting at. But they can come back very quickly with that talent. It's not working like it should this year. In terms of talent versus it working well together as a team, I think there's probably a progression here. And I'm not just saying this to toot our own horns here, but I would say, like, you could use this kind of scale. Missouri, not working at all. Arkansas, not working, but the talent's there, so they can just figure it out sometimes, like coming back from that deficit. And then you've got Alabama, tons of talent, kind of can put it together, but not consistently enough. And then Auburn, who has been one of the more consistent teams in the SEC right now, as far as playing together as a team, for even without somebody getting the amount of minutes they deserve, the points they deserve, just caring about each other and playing within what's working well at the time. Vandy might choke this away, Jackson Webb. Still plenty of time, though. And that's why you play the games, right? We could all say that we know this. I had someone today on TikTok try to say that they knew simply because of this one stat that Auburn wasn't going to be able to win one game in the SEC tournament. How ignorant can you be? One stat does not tell the story. Now, I know that's ironic, me here sitting on our post-game stream saying what stat tells the story. After the fact, you can tell that from it, but one stat going into it is not going to tell the story. The fact that Auburn basketball has so much talent, yet so unafraid to see another player get the point, it's all about the win. Yes. Lack of ego / knowing where the ego is best utilized, not for the self, but for the unit. If you want to take a picture of why this Auburn team has been so good, especially most of the time this year, I'm going to give you one example. How about this? There's one player on this team that exemplifies why Auburn has been so successful as a team and not as individuals this year. Can anybody give me one name? I want y'all to guess it. A little interactive chat time. What do you think? Who am I thinking about? Get into the mind of the host here. Let me know. And we'll come back on that end, and once you guys give me some answers, if you want to, and then we'll address it there. TikTok is a terrible place for people who think they know ball, besides a few. And I'm the worst of them, right? At least we like to act like it. All right, we got some names coming in. Let me give you what people are saying. We got Jalen, J-Will, Jalen, CBM, KD. Somebody got it right. Who is it, though? For me, I think Jalen is the easy answer, but not a wrong answer. But the one I'm thinking of, WT knows me best, KD. You've been listening, have you not? KD is an example of how this team has evolved as a we mindset and not a I mindset. What do I mean by that? Now, KD, I would never describe him as a selfish player. All players have selfish tendencies, but to me, he would be on that far end of the spectrum over there, at least in most people's minds, and how he plays, how he comes off and stuff. What you have seen is a guy has been starting at some points in his career at Auburn, has accepted his role on this team as a sixth man of sorts, coming in that second platoon, and really flourishing. Now, does he score the points that we've seen him do in the past? No. But what he does is sets everybody else up with his great defense, his better decision-making of when to shoot, when to drive and not, and his just tenacity and his energy. And everybody else feeds off of not just the energy he brings, but the way he has evolved his gameplay. So to me, an easy answer and a not wrong answer is Jalen. But the person who tells the story of this team is KD Johnson. You don't have to agree with me, but I think I've made some pretty compelling points about it. So KD to me is the case for why this team is a we and not an I focused team. And WT says it here. He could have acted like a spoiled brat and gave up. And here's something to talk about too, if we want to give J-Will the credit. J-Will modeled this for him when Jabari got here. J-Will could have gone anywhere else. His talent would have arisen most other places, as we're seeing now. But he chose to stick it out. He let Jabari take the stardom and bide his time, provided what he could. And when his opportunity came, he was ready for it and has had one of the best swan songs of anybody's final year of their career, even overcoming injury at this point. Knocking on wood, knocking on wood, knocking on wood, knocking on wood. So that's how I feel about them. Big Simp, what's going on? Thanks for checking in with us. Devin says KD has evolved so much. That is true. So many shots that he has given up that he wouldn't have last year. 100% agree with that. I've seen him take shots that normally I'm like, no, no, no. And then he makes a beautiful pass or drive to the basket. Deciding not to shoot the ball doesn't mean you have to give the ball up, but making a smarter decision for what's actually happening on the court and not doing that dribble through your legs thousands of times and then throw it up like he used to do. KD makes everyone want to give it their all. Yes, he does definitely bring that out in people. And he makes defenders give it up too, give it their all. So much to the fact that they give up the ball to him. Jalen Stain, when Jabari came in, speaks volumes as to his character. And more so beyond character too. It speaks to his understanding of what's happening here. You may say this is a simple concept to understand, but when your ego can get in the way, you forget about these simple concepts. We all knew Jabari wasn't going to stay another year. We all tried to make a case that maybe he would stay for another year at the end of the year just to get ourselves dealing with the reality. He knew that too. So it's a smart decision. Don't get emotional, ego-based. Your time will come. Let this superstar come in, do it. Learn behind him, play behind him, and you never know. You just never know, and he benefited from it. Jackson says, Bama fans and Tennessee fans have been clashing a bunch lately on X. It's really entertaining to watch. Boy, oh boy. When you get the rednecks together and start yelling at each other, it's always a good time, isn't it? It is always a good time. Linda making us all jealous, being at PCB. Thanks, Linda. But good to see you. Thanks for being here. I hope we can get another Tasmanian. I thought that was Tarzanian. Tasmanian devil like KD. Put a spark in the team. I think CBM is going to be that for you next year. Now, listen, people, remember, KD can technically come back if he wants to. I think he should. The problem is we're bringing in Tahad. So in theory, you got to think that his minutes wouldn't improve. So if he does have a final year, he may want to make a play for the NBA draft and just the NBA in general, not necessarily the draft, and go find somewhere where he can get some more playing time. It worked out for Davion Mitchell, got him to a starting position at Baylor and to the NBA. So at least in the draft. So maybe that's what he does, and I wouldn't blame him for that. But I'm very proud of what he's accomplished here at Auburn and evolved, developed as a human being and as a teammate. CBM definitely gives us that energy. He's a fan favorite of so many people. It is amazing how Coach Pearl is able to get these guys to relinquish some ego to play so well together. I think it's an unsung talk, Kyle, aspect of his coaching. I relate this to a knock that a lot of people like to harp on about Coach Pearl, that he lets his guys play too loose, fast, and free. This is my retort to that. I think part of the reason that players are willing to put aside their ego, their playing time, their starting position at times is because they know that when they come on the floor, it's not just to hold a space. They're out there to do something for this team in a significant way, whether it's scoring points, playing great defense, being that energy guy. And they know that they're going to get utilized and not just be relegated to a bench. Now, you got to earn your spot on there. And if it's too crowded, somebody's going to lose some minutes of time. But as long as you're taking care of your business, then it really shouldn't matter. So the knock is, I think, the way he coaches, the way he allows players to play free. Players like that and are willing to give other things up for that amount of freedom. I know I would, and I experienced that with my own coach. Real quick on the update on the game we're all keeping track of. It's now a 3-point game. Hey, folks, March has just begun. I know it's the 13th. It's technically almost halfway through. By the way, the first part of March just flew past really fast. March Madness has just begun, folks. And it's not even March Madness truly yet. This is just conference tournament weeks. Hope y'all are excited, man. I am so excited. I've already planned out how I'm going to move my recliner up to the front. Let's put this monitor here, that monitor here. Y'all aren't going to be able to hear from, well, you will hear from me, but you won't. I say the people who normally see me live won't see me for like 4 straight days that first weekend. I'll come back to that question, Big Simp. I'm so ready for Friday, y'all. I'm loving this all-day basketball right now, but I am ready to watch Auburn play. I am too, but I just love this time of year so much. I just love it so much. It's so beautiful. I love the greatest sporting event of all time, March Madness. By the way, if you guys would like to call in tonight, please do so. Would love to see some of y'all's faces. You don't have to be on camera, though. You can call and just hit the link at the top on YouTube. All right, let's switch gears a little bit, and we can come back to some of that. I keep switching to the wrong thing. Here we go. Y'all keep sending more comments, and I keep like going to click it, and it pops up. Keep the comments coming. But I was like, I'm trying to click Big Simp's comment, and every time I do it, it moves up one. What's your thoughts on spring practices and how big they look? I'm guessing you're asking how big the players look. Well, 2 things, and I'm probably not going to give you the answers that you're looking for. Maybe you're not looking for an answer or thinking I don't get super excited about the spring practices themselves, other than just getting our first look at the new team. To me, especially in the transfer portal era, they're going to change so much when people figure out where they are in the pecking order, which is a good, healthy thing to figure out in and of itself. It's part of the reason you go through spring, figure where you stand. And I don't think we're going to be able to take many things away. If you talk to one person, they will convince you that Walker White is throwing way better than Peyton Thorne. But then you'll talk to an actual expert and be like, actually, they're throwing exactly the same. In fact, I can see Walker White still not throwing it this way properly. So everybody's got a different opinion. Everybody's going to see something different. On the other side of this, how big they look. I'm not going to deny Cam Coleman. That's who we're talking about here. I'm just going to be honest, right? His measurables, what was it? 6'4", like 210 pounds or something. Is that too big? Anyway, he's a big man. But we have already all built this caricature archetype of who Cam Coleman is in our head. And we're going to say that he just looks bigger than everybody else. And you're also seeing pieces written about that way because they know that's what y'all want to hear. The dude's a big dude, and I'm not denying that. But it's not like he's just this once-in-a-lifetime specimen that's never arrived before on campus. We have some of those specimens already, and it hasn't really amounted to much at this point. I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying size, length, height, wingspan, that doesn't always translate out into the field. But in terms of just getting hyped about those things, sure. Yeah. So I'd probably burst your bubble there, but that's kind of was my first impression to those thoughts. All right. Some more comments came in. I need Auburn basketball to make the championship. I will miss a lot. I will miss most of Friday and Saturday's games due to work. Well, that is a shame. I think we have a good shot of making the championship game, better than I think we had previous years. Double bye really helped that. But we got to get through we got to get through South Carolina, most likely. We got to get through Tennessee, and then you got to run into Kentucky, Alabama, or Florida. That's tough. That's just tough. I don't care who you are. I see we have a question of what time and channel. I actually haven't looked that up yet. And most of the SEC games, I believe, are on SEC Network. Now, the time for Auburn's game, if that's what you're asking, would be 30 minutes after the first game of the day, which I believe starts at 11. Starts at 1? something like that. I can pull it up in a minute and look at it, but it's a early afternoon start time, early-ish start time. Transfer portal and NIL have fundamentally changed college football. It is to be seen if it is a positive. When I read it the first time, I was like, what is he saying there? Now I understand. Yeah, I think the jury's still out on if it's a positive. Let's see here. Who do you think will be quarterback number 2 coming out of spring practice? The easy answer is Walker White. Like, that's just the easy answer. My hope is that Holden has shown enough that he still deserves to be the number 2 guy. The problem is that he's been here for a while. He's had very limited opportunities to show what he can do actually in game time stuff. But in those, he hasn't really wowed. We hear a lot about how he does well in practice and stuff like that. But when it comes to game time, we haven't seen that come out in limited capacity. Walker White on paper, on tape, looks great, like the future of the team. And he is at some point, I think, in terms of the quarterback position. But I got to wonder, with as long as Holden has been here, is he willing to wait around and be number 2? So even if he is number 2, Walker's not going to, I mean, knock on wood, not going to go anywhere. He just got here. He can redshirt, still have 4 years if he wants them. I got to wonder if Walker's just going to be number 2 simply because Holden may go somewhere else. I don't know. All right, we're getting behind in chat. I'm going to try to catch up here a little bit. Early rounds on SEC Network, later on ESPN. There you go. My gut is that the championship game will be Tennessee, Kentucky. We predicted, Austin and I both predicted Auburn versus Kentucky. No. Yes, I think that's what we both predicted. Those of you that watched the show, correct me if I'm wrong. And I think we both predicted Kentucky to win it. I don't know why, and it's not just simply because the easy answer, because they're peaking. That's the go-to answer. I just got a gut feeling that they're going to win this thing, and it just frustratingly somehow just be doing well at the right time. 2:30 start time. First game's at 11. I thought so, so be over it. Well, Devin, just to be careful, the official game time is not 2:30. It's 25 minutes after. That's what's listed on the bracket, the end of the first game. So they would end at 1 Central Time. I'm assuming it's what it's set at. And then 1:30. So 2:30. Well, I don't know. Look at the bracket. It's on there. Auburn's game will start 25 minutes after the first one. Big Simp said he's a Hank Brown fan. I think he can sling it. I think he can sling it well enough to be a major program college quarterback. Is he good enough? Have we seen enough from him to say that he is number 2 material or something like that? I don't think so. I'm not at practice though, and I'm not the coaches, so I can't make that decision. I think he is very likable guy and very excited to have him. Hugh wanted him here for a reason. I just don't think that he's going to amount to as much as some people are trying to build him up as on this team, at least at this point right now. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, because if I'm wrong, that means our team's getting a better quarterback, but probably not. You guys predicted UK with UK win. Okay, thank you for clarifying. I thought so, but I just didn't want to put that out there and it not be true. The ESPN app says it's 2:30. That's what I was going off of. I know that's not the time it will be though. Yeah, I would definitely go by. And the ESPN app is not going to. That's weird that they would say 2:30 Central, because their times are always Eastern. So that's just weird. But check the bracket, the official bracket on the SEC website, or that you've seen passed around now. That is your official start times, barring unforeseen circumstances, which there will be some. WT said, I'm so glad that the SEC tournament SEC tourney is in Nashville. It means less likely chance Austin will attend any of our games. When you said Austin to start off, I was like, Austin, are you talking about like Texas University? They're not here till next year. I don't know. Don't put it past him. If you keep ragging on him like this, WT, he might just go just to spite you, even if it's at the expense of his team. He is not attending this as far as I know, so I think we're safe. But we'll see. We shall see. Yeah, that was a weird noise I just made into the microphone. Sorry about that, y'all. I heard myself making it. I like the tournament being in Nashville. How does everybody else feel about that? Any thoughts, opinions about it? I think if you look at where the major championship games are for the big three, football, basketball, men's basketball, and baseball, you'll find that they are ideally placed in the heart of where their best teams are located. Atlanta, the heart of it, meaning like it's easy to get to. Atlanta's a major hub with an airport, so whoever wins has got an easy access to get there. Nashville, they know Kentucky fans just take over the arena, and it's not the worst drive for most of the other schools, so it makes sense to have it there. Then you've got baseball in Birmingham, and I think that makes a lot of sense too, with Auburn usually being a pretty good team. The Mississippi schools definitely it's very central. Georgia, Florida, LSU, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, like Tennessee, all the teams that are good are basically surrounding it. So it makes a lot of sense there. Nashville's a nicely centrally located, so no problem with it. I think it goes beyond it being centrally located, because you got to think that central location is relative to some of the other teams. What will be interesting to see is if they change this now with Oklahoma and Texas coming into the fold at all. Thomas says, selfishly, I want the tournament in Beham just so it's close and I have a better chance to see it. That would be nice, right? If we could all be selfish. But Birmingham does not have the facilities to house an event like that. Bridgestone handles it nicely, from what I understand and can see on TV. After being at the regional tournament game for March Madness last year for Auburn, it was doable, but you can definitely tell for a bigger event like that, it would not be as suitable. It's big enough, I think. It's just not parking, flow of everything, niceness of it. Sorry, BJCC or whatever it's called now. Legacy Arena, maybe that's what it's called. And Birmingham just doesn't have the facilities to support that. In fact, I would also say that, I don't know if anybody attended the Birmingham Bowl for Auburn a couple of years ago. You found out that this brand new facility was not set up to handle the crowds of like an Auburn when they're playing there. You can handle the crowds and the flow of everything of a UAB who's there, but outside of that, no, I can't handle it. It's a nice facility though. Very nice football field, just not ready for crowds from big teams. And I would say the SEC tournament is too much for that arena to handle. So Nashville, it is. Texas and OU joining is going to make the SEC tournament even more fun. Absolutely. They come from a very strong basketball conference already. And so that's only going to raise the level of competition. Hey, folks, if you didn't think the SEC was hard enough this year, which if you don't, you're stupid. But if you somehow can convince yourself that the SEC wasn't tough enough this year, we're bringing in two of the most storied programs in most college sports, but definitely in men's basketball. Texas right now seems to be a little bit better, maybe, than Oklahoma. I think they're both struggling to get in. I know Texas was like an 8 seed or something like that. Probably wrong, but they will be challenging. I'm excited to have. I didn't think I was going to be this excited to have Texas and Oklahoma coming into the league as much as I am. And I'm talking about all sports. It just makes a lot of sense. And in this world of crazy expansion, this one seems to be the most calculated, the most thought through, planned out, the least reactionary. Big Ten snagging the coastal people. Now, I think on the surface, yeah, like it looks very reactionary. I think in the long term, they will benefit from that if they can get all the logistics worked out. But Texas and Oklahoma coming in, while it felt weird when that became a thing for the first time ever, when the announcements started to break, now in hindsight, it makes a lot of sense. At least that's my opinion. I don't know if you guys share that same sentiment. And I've said this a lot of different times in different formats, but I do think that people aren't aware of how dominant those two teams are, and especially Texas in a lot of the other sports. The year it was announced, Texas almost by themselves had more championships across sports that year than the entirety of the SEC. It's about to get fun, y'all. It's about to get fun. Tim says, agree. Nashville is a better site for the SEC tournament. Great restaurants in walking distance of the arena. I have been to Nashville a few times. I've only been like in the downtown area where that would be a couple of times. So I'm not as familiar as maybe I should be with it, but it does feel like it supports that very well. I like what they're trying to do with Birmingham over in that sporting area. They're putting up some more restaurants and stuff like that, but it's still got a long way to go. They're just not ready to handle that amount of people that the SEC tournament brings in. You know, they had it in Atlanta one year, and I attended when it was in Atlanta. That obviously works really well. They did it down in Tampa one year, which was really weird. And yeah, I don't know. I like it in Nashville. It feels right there. Tie game with 7 minutes left. Oh, Arky found a way. But hey, I told you Vanderbilt would be competitive, even if they don't win this. I knew that they would be very competitive and have an opportunity to be relevant in that game. I think they got a good coach, talent, and probably just can't. Maybe they won't be able to finish the job after all. All right. We are 40-ish, a little over 40 minutes into the show. Please, if you haven't, smash the like button. It's a huge help to us. Even if it's later in the show, it lets people know that you enjoyed the content. It'll get shared out to other places. If you haven't, please subscribe. We'd love for you also, if you're thinking about calling in today, the phone lines are open. They will not be open for too much longer. A few more, about 10 minutes or so. Oh, it's like speak it into existence. We got a caller. So take advantage of that if you'd like. We'll take this call on the other side if it comes through. It looks like it's having some trouble coming through. We'll take that call and take some more comments and questions on the other side. But let me tell you what's coming up at E2C Network. We have got on Friday, we don't know who, but we got a reaction stream right after that game gets completed for Auburn. Win or lose, we will talk about it, analyze it, and process it, and then move forward with whatever comes next. Hopefully, there will be 3 of these, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But we definitely got one Friday. Don't miss that here on YouTube. We also I bring this one up too. I forgot to. The Auburn Experience, episode 70, live recording with Austin and myself. Always a good time there. We have a little bit of Q&A at the beginning and end of that, but you're mainly there to watch the sausage be made and watch the show happen live. We enjoy that. It's always a fun time on Sunday nights. So I hope you can join us for that. Okay. Kevin is trying to call in. He has 2 calls up right now, and neither one of them are coming through. So Kevin, keep trying, buddy. Maybe it'll come through. I'm going to kick both of those from the studio and see if they'll see if you can try to call back in, because it is not letting you through right now. We'll hear from our Captain Optimism himself, but you all can also try to call in if you'd like to and talk about some of the things that you'd love to discuss. I'm gonna I've seen Jackson here from TikTok. We were on TikTok today. We do midday live streams during the weekday, most days over there. Sometimes usually a little bit shorter. But we gave a challenge to our Bama fan to call in, and he said he was going to. Have you noticed he hasn't, Jackson? I don't know if you're still here. A lot of talk, not a lot of action. So we'll have to give him crap for that if he shows up tomorrow to that. Let's remember to do that. Anyway, so I know a lot of you are probably starting to tune in to the end of that Arkansas Vanderbilt game. Is anybody staying up tonight for the Georgia Missouri game, or is everybody going to tune out? I don't think I'm going to necessarily tune in to that game. I'll be checking the score, but I don't think I'll be watching it all that much, to be honest with you. Oh, you're staying up, WT. He says, I know this question is better served by the Dustbuster, but do you think Nike gets the apparel deal? I think that's where the tea leaves are pointing at this point. You know, I hope, and I continue to say this, that y'all will really lock in and tune into what Clint's saying is about this. And I'm not trying to build Clint up that he's going to break the story when it happens. What I am saying is that when it comes to the discussion around anything Auburn aesthetic, apparel, otherwise, history, especially too, but on this topic especially, he's the guy you want to go to. If you don't really see him freaking out about things or hinting at things, I wouldn't put a lot of stock in things. Now, that's not to say that I know that some of our beat writers in their respective groups started talking about it this last week, and it's kind of got what people stirred up a little bit, but most of it was stuff that Clint's kind of already been hinting at. I don't think it was ever a secret that Nike was the high choice in all of this. I mean, you're Nike. How do you not become the top choice, at least to start off with? So I think that's where we're at right now. It looks like it's a matter of time. It's just the time of when the deal is announced. Maybe something different comes out. Maybe we're all wrong. Maybe Russell's coming back. WT says staying up. Devin's staying up with the baby. How's the baby doing? Having a new baby allows me to be up at all sorts of crazy hours. I can appreciate that. Clint knows more about Auburn apparel than anyone I've ever seen. Sadly, yes. You can tell him I said that. Y'all don't know that. Here's the thing. Clint gives you what he wants you to know about his knowledge base there. The things that man has told me that he has figured out, known, learned, gets interested in is just mind-boggling sometimes and somewhat concerning. So he loves himself some Auburn history, but also Auburn history in that aspect. When is Clint going to come back on? Always so informative and funny. We actually tried to connect with him for a show recently when Austin was going to be out, and he wasn't available. But we're always thinking about it. He and I are always talking about things to do together. I meant to actually have a conversation with him, like sit down with him and be like, all right, man, when do you really think, closed doors here, this is happening? When can we prepare to talk about this and stuff like that? Not that he knows it, but just what does he think? Kevin, buddy, I see that you're trying to call in. It's not coming through on my end. All I see is a blank screen and nothing. So if it comes through, I will definitely bring you on, but I don't know that you got the service today to pull it off, but keep trying if you'd like. We'll keep the phone lines open for another 5 or 7 minutes, something like that. But keep trying, buddy. But back to the notion about Clint being on. Yes, I do want to have Clint on some more. It's just not. Let's see. Let's see if we can get him in real quick while he's got a minute. All right, Kevin. Yoo-hoo. I saw him for like half a second. Kevin. All right. I don't think you've got the connection tonight, buddy. Sorry about that. If we can get him in, we will, but it's just not coming through tonight. Might need one of y'all to call in to test and make sure it's not me. I think my signal's going through okay, but I think it's on Kevin's end, unfortunately. Yeah, Clint will be back on the show. Clint knows that he has an open door policy. When he wants on, he pretty much, I'm struggling to think of when I told him like, nah, or I'm not interested in that. I'm always interested in those things. Things that I think Clint will be talking about is definitely when we get the news of the apparel deal. I bet he'll want to come on and talk about some uniform stuff as we get closer to the season. You just never know. Baby's doing great. He believes 2 months old. Oh my goodness. Grow up so fast, don't they? Good to hear. Good to hear. One of the great things about being in the Conquer Club is you get to learn about these people's lives in there. And so we got the birth announcement in there. We got somebody's engagement announcement in there, which is great. So it's a little, we always talk about the E2C network as the best little family within the Auburn family. And then we got a little tiny, I hate to say exclusive little family within that on the Conquer Club. So thank you guys for being part of that and sharing your lives with us. Kai said, now Kai, who are you over on? Are you from TikTok? On TikTok Live, so I was assuming we lived in the same time zone. Well, people asked on TikTok what time zone it was, and I said Eastern time. So yes, we're here. Meki, okay, Meki. Now I know who you are. There we go. We're some people. Good to see you. Yes, we're here for a few more minutes. And we'll see how much longer we stay for, but good to see some of our TikTok folks making their way over here. Jackson, or Spiderweb, as you know him, has been here. But yeah, Mr. Manville, stop being so generous. Thank you so much, sir, for the super chat. Very much appreciated. You're awesome, sir. By the way, it was his engagement we got to celebrate. So, you know, I know we've already talked about it on here, but I'm going to embarrass you a little bit more. So Mr. Mekki, since you just popped into the chat, what do you want to talk about? We pretty much hit every topic you're probably interested in talking about. But if there's something that you'd like us to expound upon, let us know. Because we're kind of getting towards the end of the show here. Probably need to start wrapping up in a little bit, but want to make sure we hit all the topics that we need to before we get to close to the end time here. Anybody got a score up there? It's like y'all know me or something like that. Now Vandy is losing 74-68 with just over 2 minutes left. I think they're probably, if they don't, I'm not watching the game, so I don't know what the situations look like right now in terms of the dynamics of everything. But to me, 2 minutes left. If they can't stay within 4 points in the final minute, they're done. Basketball's a game in that final minute. If you aren't within that 4-point margin of a mistake being made, you're pretty much done. So they better get it back in there. It's disappointing to see that my prediction didn't come true, but I was close. It looked like I was going to be right. It just goes to show you how dominant the SEC has been this year. Dominant's not the right word. Competitive they have been this season. Anybody can give somebody a run for their money this year. What do you think has been the single most successful Auburn sport of all time? I would guess equestrian, but I remember swimming being great when I was at Auburn. So when you ask that question, and I'm glad you gave the answer I would have given. When you ask this question, you've got to talk about a lot of context in terms of how long those programs have been around with that success that they've seen to really better answer this. To me, equestrian has only been around like 20 or something. I'm probably wrong on this, but not as long as swimming and diving. And the amount of success that they have had proportionally would make them the most successful Auburn sport of all time right now. Now, if you look at Auburn's history, people do not get, like Auburn football's history, people do not give Mike Donahue the credit he deserves as a head coach. That man needs a statue, and I mean now. Iron Mike Donahue, give the man the statue. That might put football in the conversation too. I think swimming and diving's up there. I think equestrian is king right now. Football. Some would say at one point, if they hadn't gone through such a lull period, women's basketball probably has a sneaky history of being great that people aren't aware of. and success. So there's a lot of options there, but equestrian is all right. Kevin's video changed. We're going to try to get him in here one more time. Kevin, there you are.
Hey,
What's going on, buddy? You've been trying all night to get in here. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
How you feeling tonight? You watching games or anything going on?
Yeah, we had church tonight. We had red beans and rice.
Well, listen, you're a much better person than we all are going to church tonight. Here I am
Here,
working and not at
here
church,
I
so you're
do.
better.
Auburn's #1
Auburn's #1 in what? Everything or just something?
in basketball and football.
Well, I think some of their results of late, especially in football, would say they probably weren't. But I love your optimism about them. I
Hey,
think
I,
Auburn's got a chance to win the tournament, though. The
I
SEC.
yeah, I hope we do because for Jalen
Mm-hmm.
and who else? The singers,
Oh boy, we got a lot of them.
Katie Johnson,
Katie Johnson, Dylan Cardwell, Chris Moore.
Chris
Throw
Moore.
Janai in there, even though he's not a senior, but he's probably gone. Yeah, a lot of guys. Leor. So
Yeah,
many.
Burton, he's out.
Yep, he's definitely out, unfortunately.
And I got you a question.
Hit me with it.
How many touchdowns that Cam Coleman will have next season?
Cam Coleman will have at least 8 touchdowns.
I
So
I
that gets him one every game and a half. Kind of,
I
you play
think
12 games.
he'll have 14.
14. So he gets 1 touchdown average, 1 touchdown plus a game, plus a little bit.
He's trying to break the freshman record.
Well, I think everybody's trying to break the freshman record, but we'll see. I think
I hope
I'm throwing the caution flag on everybody hyping Cam Coleman up too early. Let's kind of keep it, let's play it down a little bit and let's see what happens. I mean, he probably will be as good as we all think he is, but I'm worried about Auburn fans' psyche right now. I'm just trying to protect y'all.
Bryce Kane.
Now, I would say I agree with you that some of the guys that aren't getting as much of the attention, like Cam Coleman, like Bryce Kane, we should be talking about a little bit more. So I think he should be talked about more. I also think people are forgetting about who?
Fairweather.
Oh, Fairweather. Yes, as a tight end. Yeah. But I was going to say, I think people are forgetting about Caleb Burton. People are forgetting about Jay Fair. I think Jay Fair is going to be your leading receiver this year in terms of receptions. So that's just kind of what I think.
Did we get a commitment from somebody named Devin Williams?
Yeah, that was like 2 weeks ago, I think, at this point, the cornerback.
Yeah.
We didn't do a video about him or anything yet. A lot of you are probably wondering where all of our recruiting videos are. I've just got the sense that we need to wait a little bit. As you've seen, there's been a lot of decommitments and flippings and stuff. And I'm just kind of like, let's let things kind of get settled. And then we'll start making some videos.
That more Gaines be there.
Amon Lane Gannis? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah.
Be on our team or be somewhere else?
No, be on Auburn's team.
Yeah, he's definitely part of the class. Yeah, he looks pretty good too. I'm excited about him.
I think he already signed.
Oh yeah, I think he's already signed already. They just gotta, get through their high school finish and then get to campus.
Hey, when will Perry Thompson be there?
I would assume as soon as he's done with high school. Like he'll probably be here at the beginning of summer.
Is Bryce Kane and Cam Coleman practicing right now?
They are practicing. Perry Thompson and Malcolm Simmons are not in yet from that wide receiver class. So probably summertime. We hope that they're all here. How about this? Give me, to end the show for you, sir, give me your prediction other than Auburn, who wins the SEC tournament. If it's not Auburn, who is it?
I think if it's Auburn Auburn will win it.
Well, if it's not Auburn, so like you can't pick Auburn. If you had to say it's going to be somebody else, who do you think it's going to be?
Tennessee.
Tennessee. All right, that's a good pick. I like that pick. Auburn. Whoever comes from that side of the bracket's going to win it all. So, Kevin, go ahead.
Who do we play Friday?
We're playing the winner of this game in South Carolina. So whoever wins this game plays South Carolina. The winner plays us. So in due time, we will know.
Yeah.
Buddy, it was good to hear from you tonight. I'm glad you finally got through, and we finally got to talk to you.
Our baseball team is 13-3.
They are doing very well, doing very, very well. Excited to talk about them more in the coming weeks.
And I'll see you April 6th.
Yes, sir. Let's make it happen. A-Day. All right, buddy?
What time the Tiger Walk?
I have no clue yet, but as soon as we know it, we'll post about it.
Okay, War Eagle.
All right, War Eagle Kevin. Thanks for calling. All right, good to hear from Kevin. He finally made it in. All right, I saw you guys giving the updates. 2-point game with 43 seconds left. That offensive rebound, I think, ended it for Vandy. Okay, so kind of like we thought that they weren't going to be able to pull the win out at the end there, but it was good to see them put up a fight. First game of the SEC tournament, and it got crazy. Just goes to show you the SEC is good in basketball, especially this season. All right, final thoughts, questions, comments, derogatory rebuttals. Get them in now. Don't miss your opportunity to be heard, to have them addressed on this show. We'd love for you to give us some final thoughts here. I reminded you all, don't miss our post-game stream on Friday. Hopefully more on the weekend too. And our Sunday, the Auburn Experience live recording. We'll also have a baseball stream Tuesday night after the game, and some other things too. We'll probably end up doing before the weekend gets out. I feel like I'm not going to have any sleep for the next at least 2 weeks or something like that as March Madness gets rolling. I'm excited though. I'm ready for it. It's going to be fun. I hope you all are ready too. All right, it is over time. It's not over. Okay. Well, I will probably go have this be the end of the show and go watch it myself. And check this thing out, folks. So I want to thank you guys for sticking with us tonight and being here on a night where you had a game going on, many of other options. You guys continue to be the best little family within the Auburn family. We appreciate you so much for being here, hanging out with us, and being part of our little family within the Auburn family. Till I talk to you again, thanks for being here. And I missed my little thing. War Eagle.